Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you a new feature that we just released on Ludio that lets players leave a game early without disrupting the game for everyone else. The reason this is important is because up till now, if someone had to leave a game early in Ludio, they would leave, they would then show up as a disconnected player, they would have that sort of dead robot sign over their face, and as a player who's still in the game, you always have to wait for this disconnected player to take their turn, whatever that might mean in the context of the game. Which can really slow things down, and it's a little bit frustrating if a handful of people leave and now you're just waiting for these people to you're just waiting for the timer to run out on every single action, essentially, because the player is no longer there to take that action, but their spot in the game is still there, if that makes sense. They've sort of left their seat, but the seat hasn't been removed from the game. So I want to show you a quick example of this. There are two ways to let a player leave the game. The first way is initiated by the host, and the second way is initiated by the player who's leaving. So let's imagine that we're doing a Nexus puzzle together, and we're in the middle of solving it, and then Chrome says, hey guys, sorry, I gotta run to my next call, I gotta leave. So in this situation, let's look at the way the host can do this. So what the host can do is say, okay, see ya, and then as the host, I can click on the three dots menu for that player, and I can kick them from the game. So if I kick them from the game, you'll see that they're now disconnected, and what will happen is, at a particular checkpoint in the game, they will simply be removed from the game. Their seat will be removed from the game. So let's try to finish this Nexus puzzle over here. What is the Nexus puzzle? Okay, great. Cool. So we finished the Nexus puzzle, and if you've played Nexus before, you'll know that between each puzzle there's a vote as to what to do with the difficulty of the puzzle. Do we want to increase the difficulty or keep it the same or lower the difficulty, right? So we're about to approach that, and you'll see what's about to happen. Great. So Chrome has left the game, so you can see their box is no longer on the screen, and they're no longer part of this vote. It's just the four of us. If in the old version of Ludio, before we had this feature, we would still be waiting on Chrome to participate in this vote, which would slow the game down. We would have to wait the entire duration of the timer. Okay, but now Chrome isn't there, and we can proceed as though it's just the four of us, because it is. So that's one way to initiate this process of having that player leave the game. Let's look at another way this can happen, and this is if the player is cooperative. So first, let me get Chrome back into this call. Chrome is my alter ego. Okay, and let's start that 5-player game of Nexus again. And just bear with me as I get through all of this. All right. So the other way this can happen, we're doing a Nexus puzzle. Let's imagine that again Chrome says, hey, I need to head out. See you guys. On Chrome's end, so we're now looking at Chrome's account. What a lot of people do in Ludio, and that's totally fine, is they just close the tab, and then they disconnect from the game, and it's still on the host to officially kick them from the call in that situation, because when someone just closes the tab, we don't know whether they're coming back. We don't know whether they're refreshing. If they're refreshing, we don't want to give up their seat. We want them to be able to rejoin the call and just resume from where they left off, right? So just because someone leaves the call doesn't necessarily mean they are leaving the game permanently. That's why when you close the tab, we don't know for sure whether you're gone or not. It's up to the host to kick you, which tells the game, yes, you're officially gone. But if you're the person leaving and you want to do it the right way, the way to leave the call in such a manner that Ludio knows you're not coming back is to click this button which says leave, which is different from closing the tab. If you leave the call, you will see you get these three options. Okay, don't leave, meaning I clicked it by mistake. I am coming back, meaning don't give up my seat. I'm just, I don't know, going to the restroom or something. I am not coming back is how you kick yourself out of the game. So if you say, I am not coming back, and then we go back to the original call, now the game knows that this player is not coming back. We should give up their seat at the earliest possible convenience. So let's imagine that I skip this Nexus puzzle. And now we get to the vote. Great. Chrome has left the game, and now it's just the four of us playing. So, to recap, either the host has to kick the player out of the game, and then their seat will be taken away at the nearest checkpoint, or the player can be cooperative and click that leave button and tell Ludio, hey, I'm not coming back, in which case it's the same thing. When does this not work? Two situations. The first situation is the game simply doesn't allow this. So there are games where it's actually really bad if someone leaves early, and Ludio will maintain that player's spot and just take actions on their behalf, because there's no good way to reorganize the entire game around this missing player. So the player's spot has to be kept in the game. You can imagine games like Mafia, games where information is created or destroyed, or there's hidden information. It really disrupts the entire balance of the game when someone leaves early. So even if that happens, Ludio will still pretend like that player is there. Okay. The other situation in which this doesn't work is if someone leaves, you would drop below the minimum player count for that game. So you might be playing a card game, and the minimum number of players you need is 4 players, and you have 4 players, and then one of them decides to leave. Well, yes, they can leave, of course, but Ludio will not give up their seat, because there's no version of the game that works for 3 players. It can't adjust it downwards like that. Okay? So a couple of exceptions, but for 80% of the games, players can now leave early in a way that Ludio can understand, and it can keep going with the game and kick those players out seamlessly so that the game proceeds without you having to run out the clock on every single action as you're waiting for this disconnected player to do something. All right? So hopefully that makes the games a little bit more dynamic. Hopefully it gives you a little bit more agency over your games as you're playing in real time with a set of people who might not stay constant from start to finish. Yeah, let us know how it goes and have fun. Thanks so much.